Getting started in the Commoner format has never been easier with Ira the Crimson Haze, so let's get into the deck tech straight away. Ira is an absolute bomb of a hero. Why? Because her hero ability is one of the most broken ones in the Blitz format right now. Your second attack each turn gains 1 power, and that may not seem like much, but keep in mind she has 2 Kodachis that she is attacking in with every single turn. The first Kodachi goes in for 1, the second one goes in for 2 damage, and all of that with just the simple pitch of a single blue card. Best of all, you will still have 1 pitch left to use one of your many 1 cast or even 0 cast attacks in combination with an attack reaction. So what do you need to build a good Ira common attack? Well, first of all, you need a significant amount of blue cards that have a 0 cost but pitch for 3. Why, you may ask? Because if you pitch a card that has a 0 cost in its upper right corner, your Kodachis will have go again. In an Ira deck that is especially powerful because her second attack gives +1 damage, which means that if you pitch a blue and you go in with both your Kodachis one after the other, your first one will hit for 1 damage and your second one will deal 2 damage, and then you can follow that up with one of your many attacks in the deck, or even a attack reaction like a Razor Reflex. So what do we have in the attack slots and the red slots? Well, it's very simple. We have Flying Kick here, which is a 2-cast card, but if it's your third chain link in a row to attack in with, it gains +2 attack, which makes this a massive 7 attack for 2, which is especially good in combination with things like the Blood Drop Rocket and the equipment slot, because you can attack him with your Kodachi for 1, your Kodachi for 2, and then you can slam your Flying Kick after that with the 1 resource from the Blood Drop Rocket, which makes it a 10 damage combat chain, which is very strong in the Blitz format. The leg tap into Rising Nitras is a particularly powerful combo in this deck as well. You can pull off some shenanigans like Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2, play a leg tap for 4 with go again, and then play a Rising Nitras after that. All that together will present 12 damage to the opponent, which is a significant amount of damage. Push the Point, very good combo card. It gains +2 attack if an attack has hit this chain. So what you can do is you can attack with a Kodachi for 1, and then you can play a Push the Point for that +2 and the +1 from Ira's hero ability, as long as your previous attack has hit. Otherwise you don't get that additional effect from the Push the Point, so that's something to keep in mind. Rally the Rearguard, very cool card. It can double up as a 7 attack as your second attack for Ira, but it can also block, and then you can discard a card if your opponent happens to use something that has a dominate effect, so that way you can stop at least 5 damage with 1 card from hand. Well, with 2 cards from hands technically. Scar for Scar, a 4 damage go again if you're on lower life. Sink Below, since we cannot really use Flick Flex in the Commoner format. Soulbeat Strike, it only gains go again if it hits. Usually it's not going to hit, but it's a very good chain finisher that you go in with both your Kodachis, and you play a Soulbeat Strike at the end of the chain, going in for an additional 4 damage. Stony Wootenhawk is a unsung hero of the Commoner format. It costs 2, it attacks for 6, in case of Ira's the second attack is a 7 attack again, and has a very cool effect that if it is not defended by 2 non-equipment cards, then it has +1 attack. So if your opponent wants to stop that +1 attack from the ability itself, they need to at least push like 2 cards from the hand in front of this, which is something, generally speaking, in the Blitz format people don't want to do because they want to keep the tempo going. Torrent of Tempo, 5 damage. It can gain go again if it hits. Usually it's not going to, so it's best that you use this at the end of your chain. You go in with your Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2, and you jam your Torrent of Tempo after that. In the yellow slot, we are running Razor Reflex and Salt to Wound, as well as Whirling Mist Blossom. We are running the yellow Razor Reflex because this card combos especially well with Whirling Mist Blossom. The combo goes as this: you pitch a blue, you Kodachi for 1, then you play your Whirling Mist Blossom, which is now coming in for 3 damage, so generally speaking that is easy to block for the opponent. But because we have 2 red Razor Reflex and 1 yellow Razor Reflex in the deck, it's very easy to push the Whirling Mist Blossom up to 5 or 6 damage, and since it's a Commoner format, the opponent, generally speaking, doesn't really have a defense reaction to react to that, which means that the Whirling Mist Blossom is more likely than not to hit, and then you can draw an additional 2 cards and keep your entire Ira combo chain going in general. For the blue slot, we have a lot of very good cards. I try to make sure that I have as many tree blocks as in general, because generally speaking you only want to keep 1 blue in hand to pitch and then do your other attacks with. And you don't really want to attack with these, so for the most part you kind of want to either block with them for 3 or have stuff that can attack for 2 damage in case with the Scar for Scar and Soul Beat Strike, which can be useful at times but are not the greatest cards in general. So the blues are mainly for pitching and blocking, keep that in mind, and you want to be jamming as many of your red attacks in general. So all in all, the Ira common deck is a really good deck. I can highly recommend it. It's a absolutely super deck in the commoner format. Unfortunately, we didn't really get anything useful in the Everfest format, but if you're a new player and you want to get started in Flesh and Blood, this deck is very easy to navigate. It is very high power, it's gonna get you a lot of wins, and maybe if you run any armor events with it, you can even get first place with very minimal experience in the Blitz format. So check this deck out, order these cards. If you have friends that already open cards for their own leisure and to chase legendaries and such, they probably have all these commons available for you. So ask around, ask your friends if they can share some of this stuff with you, and you should be able to get started in Flesh and Blood within no time. Also, if you're looking for an Ira playmat to go alongside your Ira commoner deck, you can always find these on my website kuganegaming.com. The playmat is shown on the screen right now. It's a beautiful piece of art and I can highly recommend anyone to get one of these. Thank you for watching everyone, and see you all soon with the next deck tech.